Boom. Bang.
Dude, you're a fucking minute late.
Oh,
Shame
what
on
do you mean I ran the intro? Shut it. Oh, what's up, everybody? I was not late. I started exactly on time, but I ran the intro. Welcome to
No.
the Sunday night show. It's chaos already, everybody. All things Fantasy Grounds talk show. And I need to let everybody know, if you've never watched this before, our show is meant to teach and help, but the opinions stated by us on the show are not that of Spikeworks USA LLC or Fantasy Grounds or DM's Guild or The Forge or anybody. Just us. We're just fans. We're not connected to anything. We're just here to have a good time. So today we're going to be doing the closing ceremonies of the 5th anniversary of the Fantasy Grounds Academy Founders Day. And before we get to our special guests, let me introduce my co-host. Everyone is here today. Drake, how are you?
I'm tired. I did work today, but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, awesome. And Robin, how are you?
I'm doing really good. Really good. Thank you. How about you?
Thank you for asking. I'm fucking super hot. It's still 100 degrees outside, and I'm red faced, and I feel like I have a fever, but I'm okay. A Fury Fate, how are you?
Oh no.
The show must go on. I don't do it unless I'm dying. I mean, I don't cancel the show unless I'm dying. Fury Fate, how are you? What happened? We lost her? What happened?
No, I'm fine. I'm great. I've been having a lazy day and looking at my blank bullet journal that I need to make a spread for the coming month.
I see.
Yeah.
So
I need to stop being a lazy ass and
spreads.
for various reasons.
Yeah.
Spreads.
Let me introduce our special guest.
Spreads.
He is the founder of Fantasy Grounds Academy, now and it's celebrating its 5th year in operation, and it is Mr. Leroon. How are you, sir?
I am doing okay. A little tired. I actually caught COVID right before all this, so.
Oh no!
Oh, you did. Fun. Oh, and is it gone now, or?
Are you contagious? Are you still a plague rat?
I think that I would probably not go outside for a couple more days.
Yeah. Good for
so
you.
You're still a plague rat, is what I heard.
Yep. Just so it doesn't come through the mic. Should have a mask.
Right?
You wear your mask.
It was weird.
I put the link to the Fantasy Grounds Academy website in the chat, everybody, and it looks to me like this has been overhauled. This looks great. It's all new appearance.
Yep. Fancies.
Yep.
Fancy.
And the videos are there. And wait, who was that? Yoda? Who was that? Oh, it's a Splug. It's a goblin.
It's a goblin.
Affiliates
That's
and
Dave.
allies.
It's Splug.
And what? Whoa.
Who's that?
Support our supporter. What happens when you click on that?
Wow.
Oh, snap. It goes to my DM's Guild. Nice.
How do I get my face on there?
You should put your
I'm just
affiliate
kidding.
code on there, Leroon. What are you doing? You got to get some money off that. Get your affiliate code on that.
Yep.
Yeah, so Leroon had the Fantasy Grounds Academy Founders Day celebration. It was the entire weekend, many games, many classes, many symposiums. I attended 2 myself. I went to a map making class that Leroon himself taught. And then just a few hours ago today, I went to the audio symposium where Gwydion, our community members Gwydion and Matakuri presented along with Ben from Sirenscape. So that that was good. And that's on video. Everybody can see it later when it gets posted, but I was there. So Leroon, tell us all about Fantasy Grounds Academy for the new people that might not know and what you guys did this weekend. And you just go to town. You just talk as long
All
as
right.
you want.
So maybe we could use the Academy Times page that actually has a lot of the events listed. The one that says Founders Day weekend, a blog post.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
You just click on that. Is that what I do?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And that'll help us when we get to
nice.
that part. But when we first started this thing, the Academy, it was actually called the D&D Church. And actually, Furied Fate was one of my earliest players, Mars Whip, and a couple others that are still in the Academy. Were kind of, I guess you kind of were my guinea pigs, I guess. I was trying to learn how to use the software, and I knew that I was kind of, not doing so great. I mean, it was okay, probably outwardly, but internally, I was a wreck. I mean, I had huge maps and just all kinds of, the typical things that people do when they want to break Fantasy Grounds. They do all the things wrong. So plus I had like 8+ players at a time, and just all the things you can possibly not do right. I was doing that. So that's kind of what broke me. We did that for a few months. We played in that game, and I got to the point where I just got too frustrated with the platform, and I didn't know much about it. So I decided I need to do some soul searching and figure out what's going on with it. So I know I just started getting better at making characters is really what kind of drove it. And then I kind of started helping people with that because I knew that I didn't want to manage the characters and such for everyone, because I felt like, maybe I was a control freak, but I just felt like, oh my God, I don't want to fix that right now, that sort of thing. And I just got to the point where I'm just like, screw it, I'm starting over, do over. So I decided I wanted to, teach people how to use the platform. And I remember looking into different things, and that's kind of where I found Rob's coding effects, because that actually came up in a lot of our later sessions. I started to realize that there was a little bit more to the platform. So that's how I met Rob, was on the forums. He was actually one of the first ones to comment on the thread where I'd posted kind of like an ad or an article as to the classes that I was going to hold. And I think Fury'd actually joined through there too. Well, my games, though, it wasn't for that. And then there was a couple other people who had joined right after that kind of stuck around, and we kind of got together, and I called it the church, and everyone's like, no, don't use the church, it sucks, it's off-putting, people don't want anything to do with religion. So I went ahead and did a vote, and I got outvoted, so it became the Fantasy Grounds College. I was so bummed out. I liked the church just because
democracy.
it was kind of a more of a hobby thing. It was supposed to be like every other weekend, and it became every weekend, and it became every day. Now it's like every waking minute. So that's basically the start of it. It was born out of frustration, ignorance, and being new. And I learned a lot through all of you. I mean, one form, one way or another, I've learned something from Fantasy Grounds from all of you. So I didn't just say, okay, I know everything. I had to go through the trials and errors and make the mistakes, and I still do. So I don't know everything. I just know what not to do. And that's one of the things I kind of my teaching style, right? I just say, don't do this. Don't do that. But it's hard to tell people how to play a game. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's not quite like riding a bike, but you do your best to give them examples, and you let them know about the trials that you've gone through, and hopefully it sinks in.
Fantasy Grounds, there's always another way to do something. It's like your way, my way. Whose taste is what? Yeah, capital E, little e, things like that.
Yeah, so I would say our classes or whatever, the content that we provide is more or less just best practices. it isn't really like this is how you do it, this is how you're supposed to do it. You know, it's more or less here's a way that's effective, efficient, and recognized. And some people say, "Oh, this is so great," and other people say you're full of shit. You know, but all in all, it's been pretty positive. I haven't had too much grief in the last I don't know, maybe the last 4 or 5 years. It's been pretty positive. Like there hasn't been a lot of grief lately, though. I've been getting myself in trouble poking around on the interwebs and fighting with people on the social media. But other than that, it's been pretty positive. But the main reason I get so passionate about it, and I get too wrapped up, and I just starting to question myself, like, why am I even bothering with all that? It's not worth my time. But I am very passionate about the platform and the people who use it, and I mean, I care, and it's hard for me just to kind of walk away from something like that. So that's kind of where I'm fighting myself on that. The other thing is, the amount of support from individuals like Rob. I've had, he had kind of bought in early, and we kind of promoted each other, so to speak. Like I used to, kind of teach how to use or how to at least how to set up the effects automation for characters when we did a lot of character creation classes. So that was probably like a good solid 2 years of doing that. And in doing that, I learned a lot about, how do the codes work, and I learned a lot about Rob and his products, and I also learned about Fantasy Grounds just doing that. And that's putting your time in. That's really what it comes down to. And trying to convince a person who only has an hour a week to do that is a tough sell. And to get them to commit to another 2-hour class just to, get their mind wrapped around the platform. So there's been some positive things that have come out of creating a community such as this, and one of them is the friendships, like meeting all of you guys, and getting to know Doug a little bit through from Smiteworks, and then also just meeting really talented people. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of good qualities that contribute to the overall community and to the hobby itself. So that's a huge thing for me now, is just the talent, bringing people together. That's really what this is about, getting y'all together, and then also trying to help facilitate play so that people can play. And that's really the bottom line, the mission there. It isn't about prestige and fame and trying to be cool and all that other stuff. That's kind of a byproduct of of being around enough people, but it's not as important as it is for me to sit down with somebody and say, okay, this is how it works. If you don't do this, and this might happen, that sort of thing. But other than that, I mean, that's what we got. We got just a big volunteer community. We've had people coming and going. So, we have a whole different group of people than when we started with. There's probably 2 or 3 original members, and then most of the people that are volunteering now are fairly new. So it's kind of like a cycle of individuals that come through, and they usually go on to do better and greater things, or things that are more focused on what they like to do. And I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. If people come in, they put in a month, a year, 2 years even, but then they say, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to do something else. So that's usually what happens. I haven't had too many people leave rage quit, because they don't like what we're doing. But we've had a couple, but not very many. But
throw down their keyboard.
Yeah. But I've almost rage quit a couple times. I mean,
it's your thing. You almost did.
Hey, I rage quit all the time. My freaking bastard.
Yeah, I rage quit daily.
Up my damn table.
Well, I rage quit when I shut my eyes at night.
Yeah, that's everyone's ultimate rage quit. Well, one of the best things I like about the Fantasy Grounds Academy is that you have this Discord server, and I just put the link in the chat for everybody. So if you're not on that, I suggest you click that link and get on that Discord. It's got about 10,000 people, and this is the community where there's all different manner of Fantasy Grounds user, right? Someone who just started today, someone like me who's been using it since 2015, some people even longer, some people who game once a week, some people who game every day. And so, if you ever have a question, that's kind of why we do this show too, is to sort of introduce people to things they might not know about and also answer questions and sort of help out. Because Fantasy Grounds does, no matter what anybody tells you, Fantasy Grounds does have a learning curve. It's not a steep learning curve, but it is there. But it's well worth it. And when you've got a place like the Academy that you can go and get on that Discord and go, hey, I ran into this thing. Does anybody know? You're going to get 5 people that go, oh, yeah, no, yeah, here, I can help you with that. And so it's a really great place for, the forums are okay for that. Actually, I don't think I've posted on the forums in like 2 years. And the Fantasy Grounds official Discord is somewhat like that as well, but on there it's more technical stuff. It's more,
it's to record discussions to the developer team.
Yeah. But on if you go to FGA, and if you come to my Discord asking questions generally about Fantasy Grounds or generally about D&D, I send you away. My personal Discord is more for customer service for our 500 products, and that's about all the time we have to do. We don't want to tell people to fuck off, but we really don't have time to help people. So I send them to FGA because there's 10,000 people there and someone will know the answer to your question. So that's just such a great place. And Leroon, you've built that up for 5 years, and it was 2 people and now it's 10,000. It's insane. So really great.
It sometimes it feels like I'm doing everything by myself.
So is it 2 people with 5,000 accounts?
Yeah, exactly. And then sometimes it feels like I got a really big team. It comes and goes, but it's positive for the most part.
Well, and people need to keep in mind that Leroon built this basically by himself. He's had help, but all the people that help, they're not getting paid. They're all volunteers. Nobody's making any money.
Yeah.
So it's very understandable why someone might come in and be all gung-ho to help you, but then life gets in the way and they got to they're there 4 months and they got to go. Like, it's very understandable.
Right. And so, there's times where I take on more than I probably should, but I just think that it's important to keep that type of resource going, and I really hope that if I get to the breaking point where I want to quit, that it keeps going without me. And that's kind of another reason.
It took about 2 years, and maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, Limmer. I think about 2 years for Doug to really trust you.
Yeah.
And what you were doing.
Right.
And now look, he's coming and he's showing up and doing symposiums for even his Doctor Strange thing is funny. But,
Dr. Strangerson.
At first and Doug runs a company, right? It was very understandable. He's like, oh yeah, you're going to teach people to use Fantasy Grounds for free? We'll see. But then, a couple years went by and he goes, oh, so you're legit. And then he really wanted to help and he's
been pretty supportive. Like, and we talked about this a little bit when he stopped by Saturdays. If I email him and ask him for something, he'll usually do it. Like, I don't normally get any problems. And when I do ask him for stuff, I don't necessarily beg, and I'm not, just trying to get stuff and take advantage and abuse it. I usually give him a pretty good reason why I'd want something. And he'll comp me for it occasionally. But it's not like something I do weekly or daily or monthly. I buy my own stuff too, so I don't always rely on handouts for for everything. But I do like the fact that we communicate still, and when we do have differences, he does say, hey, that's maybe not the right way to go or something like that. But generally we're not at odds, so that's good. We have a pretty good working relationship. I do have to admit, I was really upset about rebranding. That really kind of torqued me.
Oh, you mean from college to academy?
Yeah, it was only because we'd already been that way, and when they told me the reason, I was like, I couldn't really deny the logic.
Do you want to let everybody know what the reason was, and if they don't know?
Yeah, so we had FGC, which is Fantasy Grounds College, which was the acronym we used, and they had Fantasy Grounds Classic. So that right there was already kind of a kind of confusing for the discussions, and I saw it happen. I kind of thought it was funny, to be honest, but it really wasn't. And then on top of that, they didn't really want the title to include the college because the perception was that our community sort of was perpetuating the fact that that the platform is very difficult and you have to have a degree to use it, and that kind of pissed me off. But at the same time, I have to admit that I've seen that before.
Yeah, it
I've
made
seen
sense
people.
to me when I heard it because
Yeah,
that was, and possibly to a certain degree still is, the perception
it is.
is that Fantasy
So
Grounds is just so, like people who've never used it, or Roll20 people or Foundry people, which by the way has their own like things they have to learn, but they'll tell you,
yep,
oh yeah, don't get Fantasy Grounds, it's too complicated, it's too expensive, and it's neither.
right.
Yeah.
And Doug wanted to his whole thing right now, at least it was to kind of get that out of the way. I mean,
Yeah.
because he wants to make the platform, uh, they're slowly getting the UI to be better. That's one of the biggest complaints. And then there's other things, but the main thing is he didn't want the community to perceive this as the platform as needing to go to a college just to use it.
Right.
And that's kind of, I've seen those comments too. So, I can't argue with that. Although I was a little pissed that would be the determined factor of rebranding, because then on top of that, when I thought about it, I was like, okay, I don't have a problem with branding, but who's going to do all the effing work? Because there was years of content, websites, social media,
Yeah, I mean,
everything.
it's just as bad, if not worse than, think about if you tried to change your email.
Right.
I mean, all the fucking work you'd have to do. I did that actually about four
It's a
or
lot of work.
I think
5
it's
years
probably
ago.
like changing your name.
It took
Yeah.
me about a month just to really go and chase everything down and figure out what needed to change and what didn't. And there's still garbage out there, but I knew that was going to be part of the issue of branding changing. But it's almost like if McDonald's decided the next day they want to be called something else. Can you imagine the PR nightmare?
McDowell's.
We're going to get rid of the
McDowell's.
Mick. We're going to call it Donald's. It's going to be great. Everyone's going to love it.
Yeah.
Yep,
It's no longer the
exactly.
Golden Arches, we're the Golden Arcs.
Yeah, exactly. So that was one other thing, is like I just felt lazy. I just like, I don't want to redo all that crap. But they kind of incentivized. They said, okay, we'll get our guy to help you. They got Brad to help me rebrand. Do some logos, and
Oh, so
ever
this
since
is this all this stuff kind of
part
Brad's?
of that, yeah, part of
Yeah.
the part of the logo, the one that says FGA.
Yeah.
Not that one. That one I made that one, but there's a logo that we use a lot, and it is the main one. The dice is one of the things.
Oh yeah.
the-
Okay. Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
Yeah, if you look at, if you pull up that the Fantasy Grounds Academy Founders Day, that's the logo basically. That right
this
there.
one.
Yeah, minus the
Minus the
5
5 years
years
thing, yeah.
and the phone thing and that. But yeah, he designed that for us, and then I kind of just branded around that and just kind of went with it instead of fighting it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what one of the things that is part of our evolution. So it's kind of like I had that resistance to change, and then I got to thinking about it. I was like, just quit being a big baby and just switch it, So I just did the work instead of complaining about it. I just did it,
Yeah.
It just made it that much easier, because if you just do it, and shut up
And then
about it.
sometimes something like that also gives you a new, fresh website and things like that.
Exactly.
Get all freshened up and
Yep. I got rid of a lot of stuff that we didn't really need, or we had stuff that we weren't maintaining on the old website, and there was some talk going around. I did a poll. We were gonna do Fantasy Grounds University after Unity dropped, and I did that intentionally. I was like, okay, well, that I don't think Doug's gonna like that too much, and he didn't. He's like, no, do not do university, please.
Yeah,
And
because that's the same as college.
Yeah, I know, and
Yeah.
it was a joke, kind of. I wanted to do it, but I thought about it, but it's like, I even had the domain for it, so I mean, I was ready to pull the trigger, but he's like,
Oh,
nah, I
wow.
prefer you do something different. So
I think Academy's good because it sort of says like learning place, but it
Yeah.
doesn't imply anything difficult, right?
It
Yeah.
sounds
It's almost-
fancy.
Huh? Yeah, fancy.
It sounds
Yeah.
fancy.
Like and
does.
subscribe. Anyway, yeah, I don't think I need to say more than that because I think it turned out to be good, out of all the options you could have chosen.
Yeah, and it was a vote thing too, because when I was voting on changing branding, that was one of the options, and that was brought up by that was actually John's idea.
Oh, Moon
Uh,
Wizard, yeah.
Yeah, and Brad, those guys were the ones that thought of that. So
FGU would have yeah, that's right. Fat Old Dragon said FGU would have been a problem anyway because of
exactly.
Unity, right?
But I wanted it to be a problem. I wanted it to be an asshat,
I voted for Fantasy Grounds Animal House, but I didn't get no.
Oh,
But there was a vote.
McClancy redeemed Street Cam.
Uh-oh.
Street Cam. You see why I don't?
You can pull off a John Belushi.
You see why I don't want people turning around on my driveway? Look at
Yeah, I
this
see
bullshit.
that. That sucks.
That fucking sucks.
Another thing is I
Fuckers.
saw that picture earlier from your Discord. I'm like, it's a goddamn town meeting.
Oh,
over
it
there.
was. That's why I didn't have a show.
What
last
the hell
night.
is going on there?
So that was that was my HOA's a block party, and
Where were they?
Where were they?
Were they actually on that street corner? Or
Oh
were
yeah, they had a bouncy castle set up over here in the cul-de-sac,
What?
and then they had like a couple tents, not tents, but like canopies with misters.
That's intense.
It is intense. And they had some chairs and then like the barbecue and a table, and they were grilling, burgers and dogs and
Huh.
they had like sodas and beers for people. And then what it was, it's for the people on my street and the next street over. We're all in fear, Diablo Bob. Thank you for scaring the shit out of me. Thank you, Diablo Bob. They were having a party for like kind of everybody to sort of meet each other for the first time. And so imagine me, I'm sitting out there. It's a fucking 104. And people are in the sun, like their chairs are out not underneath the canopy, like out on the lawns and stuff. And I'm like, I'd fucking be dead. Like, I'm not even joking. I would be deceased to function. So I stayed for a couple hours, and then I came, and then I had a burger, and I met people, and I had a soda or whatever. And then I came and I walked back, and I came in my house. And then, like, it kicked my ass. I think I went to bed at like 8:30 and got up at like 10. Like, I slept like 13 hours. It really kicked my ass.
Wow.
But anyway, there's your street cam, everybody. So let's get back to this.
Yeah, I think it was the guy in the trailer that did that. He backed into your driveway and then turned the other way.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Oh, and my neighbors are moving. They got my neighbors next to me are renting, and they're really super nice. I like them a lot. She cleans my house, and she says to me, "Oh, the owner's coming back. We have to move. We're out of here tomorrow." And I'm like, "What?" And apparently the owner of the house, which if anybody remembers from a long time ago, this is the lady I yelled about her dogs like the first day I met her. But then she moved away. And now she moved to Idaho and was shacking up with her boyfriend, her fiance. And she called up my neighbors yesterday and said, "The wedding's off. I'm coming back. You got to get out. I want my house." Now they had a lease, but their option was to move when the lease was up or now, and they found a place to go, so they're just leaving, but it kind of sucks.
So
yeah.
Street Cam brought to you by.
So you're getting a dog?
Who, me? Yeah, I'm getting
neighbor's
two
dog's
dogs. The
gonna
next
come
door
over?
neighbor's dogs that are going to be fucking yelling all the time.
So yeah, I embraced the change. I just kind of knuckled down and got it done, and it didn't take me that long. I just knew it would be tedious and to go through and redo all the social media and all that stuff. So it was a lot of work, but I got through it.
Yeah, and now it's
Uh,
good. Now it's
It
good
was
time.
actually a good experience in overall, because if I ever worked for a social media company or anything like that, the rebranding is not an easy thing. So it gives me a little experience with that. So that's something that you might have to face.
Oh, look, they got languages for different states: Mississippi and and Idaho and Hawaii, and yeah, that's good stuff. So, does anybody watching the show have questions for Leroon about Fantasy Grounds Academy, or would they like to know anything that he didn't cover? You can ask us, and we'll tell you. Looks
So
good
the
on
other
our resume. What does that mean?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So I also use the Founders Day as kind of like a marker for change. So after today, we stopped. There was a what do you call it? A survey that you fill out that kind of gives me an idea of what type of content the current regime of users is looking for. And it's not going to capture, by any means a perfect number of representatives of the community, but I figure the people who are answering it are active, so that helps. And then the other thing is that it just gives me a rough idea of what direction to go into. And it surprised there's some surprising stuff in there, and we're going to go over that shortly, um, where we can talk about these things and share that with you guys, because this is all your guys' information. I mean, there's no emails or there's no saying who said what, so it's all anonymous. But I got some interesting information from it, and I'd like to use that information to kind of restructure how we're doing things in the academy. It helps me focus on what's important to people right now, not people that were there 5 years ago necessarily. So
Right.
that's kind of how it is. Because even though we have 10 grand or close to 10,000, there's not that many people active. It's probably 3,000. You know, and then from out of those 3,000, they're on Discord, but they're not necessarily in the academy. So when you really break it down, we've probably got at least solid, 1,500 people active at a time, which is pretty big. I mean, that's for most Discord communities, that's, probably 100. But yeah, we do have a lot of individuals come and go. Um, we see a lot of changes in how they impact the community, and I kind of can see like what's happening to the evolution of the software versus how we're using the software versus how we're going to use it. So it kind of gives me that perspective, teaching and helping people, and kind of being in the mix. It helps a lot. And I do read the forums quite a bit. I'll read the House of Healing. Occasionally I'll answer those or try to help, but generally I use that as kind of like a barometer of how changes are affecting the community, and also if I see someone else struggling with that similar problem, I know how to deal with it. So it's customer service a little bit there too. So that's something else I've been kind of getting into, is kind of helping out with that a little. So
Yeah. Fat Old Lion says he's looking at the site. He likes it. It's very pretty. He doesn't see
yeah, it's
links
basic,
for
and I don't.
he doesn't see links for schedules, classes, or games, and he's
Nope.
asking, is that only on Discord? Which is true, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we used to put a schedule on there. The problem with that was that you have to maintain a plugin, and the plugin itself was something that was hard to manage, because um, it wouldn't auto calculate your local time. And the other thing is, we were using WordPress, and it opened up the website to attacks. So we
Yeah.
had security issues and all that. So, and then I got complaints from the community that they didn't want to go to Discord and the website just to get a class. And then it was the same with the volunteers, that they felt like, we don't want to have to go over there just to have to go back to, the Discord. So we used, as soon as this feature came out, this events thing, we used it. And the only problem with this is that it says interested, and people will click on it and then they don't go.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that
interested means scheduled. Like you
Yes.
Yeah.
scheduled yourself, right?
right. And if you click, Rob, if you click on the three dots, you can actually go there and actually, why does it say edit?
Well, it might be because that's mine.
Okay. Oh, got it. Yeah, so you can add it to your calendar. So if you do sign up and say interested, and you're having a hard time memorizing it or knowing that it's coming
Oh
up,
yeah, there you go.
you can export it from there. And then if you accidentally do click on interested, if you click on interested again, it removes your interest from the
Right.
thing. So it's
So if I click there, I show up here, right? And then I
Yep.
go, oh no, I didn't mean that. I could just click it again and it go away.
yeah, that's right.
Yep.
So there's that. But the other problem is you can't limit how many people sign up. So there's no cap on it. So you can have 50 people sign up, but
the rooms
generally
only hold 20, right, or 30.
Yeah, and on top of that, we rarely ever have a problem with attendance, like over attendance. So
Yeah.
that's a good problem to have. So if I get 10 people signing up, maybe 3 show up. That's what the attrition rate's been on that.
Yeah, I get it.
So it's not really something we can enforce. I mean, if you look at some of the posts I made, like do this and try to click on that, and we're gonna do, like I try to do everything I can to get people to use the tools that are built into Discord, because that's where everything is held. We don't have a website anymore to, that website is basically a funnel. It just pushes everyone right back to the Discord. So that
Right.
may be why you're not seeing those things on the website. The website is a blog. It's got some handy links. It's got our social media links and all that kind of stuff there, and we can point to those blog articles when we have a tweet that's too long or something that that we can't shove into Twitter. So we'll put an article and we'll link to that or something. But that's generally what the website is for. It's a splash page. It's a blog. It's got some some links and such, but it's really not a scheduling application like we did with our old website. And it doesn't have, we used to have a knowledge base and all this other stuff, but we couldn't keep up with it, and maintaining it was a bear.
Mhm.
And then I had to go in and manually approve everyone's event. So if someone makes an event, I have to approve that. And if someone signs up for it, either the teacher or myself had to approve that. So it became like a secretary job or something, where I'm just constantly maintaining that all the time. And that whole model was not good. And then on top of that, it's not in the right time zone. So if you don't do the math and you sign up for it and you go, oh, I thought it was 2 hours from now, we always had that problem too. So that's why you don't see that anymore on the website.
GWD's asking, is it possible to join a class that's already started if you didn't sign up for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally, 9 times out of 10, we don't mind.
Cool.
The only time it's a bother is if you come in, you got your mic open, and we can hear your wife screaming at you. That's when it becomes a problem. But other than that, it's not a big deal. You can pop in and kind of just watch. That's what most people do anyways. There's some people that show up. I had a class that nobody showed up. Well, one person showed up, and then by the end of the class, I had like 5 people in it. So that it does happen occasionally.
Yeah, like at the Friday or whenever that was, Thursday.
Oh, the map thing?
The map class. Zacchaeus showed up about 20 minutes in to announce that he didn't believe I was attending a class.
Yeah.
And then he left. So that was funny.
Yeah. But it's just a hit and miss on these events. So let's talk about, since we're talking about this, we can start talking about the survey.
Oh yes. Now can we see that, or do you just have
I
it
can share it.
Yeah, okay, good times.
Let me do
so
that.
Yeah, this is interesting stuff.
So I'm going to pull that in. Let's see, how do I want to do it? Screen share.
Yeah, so this is an anonymous survey that he ran. Let's see if I can blow it up here.
Yep.
And maybe even bigger than that. Yeah, there we go.
All right. So what this is kind of just just kind of bunch of different questions. Some of them are useless, some of them are useful, but it kind of gives me an idea of where we're headed. So the first question on the survey, there's not that many questions. So if this is boring to you, I apologize.
No, I
But
think this is really shows a lot of
Yeah, don't
what's going on
apologize.
in the community. Yeah.
yeah, so it describes what describes your overall activities in the Fantasy Grounds Academy Discord community. And you can do, and this one was multiple answers. But the largest one is just looking for basic advice or answers. So that doesn't necessarily mean classes. That just means popping in, getting an answer, and going. That's what most people want
Yep.
out of that. The second one, believe it or not, is looking for RPG help, such as GMing, player advice, and other indirect related content. So more like GM type stuff, like how do you use this to make that, those sort of things. And then the third one is the classes. So to me, that tells me that maybe I'm focusing on the wrong things here, because my main focus is these classes, and then those other ones. The second one, and then maybe this third one. But actually, most people are coming in. That's what they want. So
Yeah, you can interpret these results in various different ways, because my thought would be the reason that the class thing is lower than the other things is because a lot of people already know they don't need the classes because they already know stuff. Yeah,
that's right.
That's the only reason it's not higher. But
time too.
Yeah, but 1/3 of people want to have classes. That's awesome.
It's not bad. And then the other one, the last one that was kind of funny, was this lurking around thing. I thought that was interesting. So we got lurkers.
Because people can obviously answer more than once, right? Because
yes.
Otherwise, that doesn't add up to 100%. It adds up to like 1,000%.
So that's just a preliminary stuff there. That's that's a kind of a good thing. I can share that with volunteers and that kind of thing. And then so which types of content are most useful to you and your situation? Again, this is more than one answer, but the top one in here, I believe, was these helpful links and community created content like instructions and stuff, because we've done that before. We've published modules and PDFs and such that are related to using Fantasy Grounds, so it's like an instructional resource. So that's what most people were liking that. And then the other thing was basically the workshops and the live classes. And then there's just a place to post help. They want that, or some live one-on-one help is kind of up there. But mostly people just want, helpful links and just to be able to get to the resources.
Yeah.
So that to me is going to prompt me to probably restructure the way we have our information in the academy, like getting rid of some of the rooms, and just kind of rearranging stuff, and maybe recruiting different types of people to help.
Is this survey still open or is it closed?
It's closed.
Okay.
Yep.
I remember taking it. I just clicked all the crappy ones down below.
Drake is the one that did the 11111.
No, he does the one that says, "I don't really visit anymore."
I do too.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's what I wrote that. I just said that.
It's funny because each one of these panels so far has had at the bottom 1111. It's almost like a person went in and clicked everything once.
Well, these are things that they made up.
Oh, it is.
The single one.
Okay. Gotcha.
But some of these are redundant, like like live classes would be best, but then it might be another one that's similar.
Yeah, I got. Oh, so that means somebody typed in their response.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that might be interesting information to read.
Look, somebody answered because of Zach.
Yep.
Zacchaeus,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Funny.
I'll
was
share
pro-
that with him.
That was probably him.
Yeah, it was. So which items or content should be changed or addressed in our Fantasy Grounds Discord community? So more than one answer again. So none. So that means that 70 or 40% or whatever.
I think it's
don't know.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
But the main complaint was
yeah, the
like
games.
the
yeah.
lack of games.
Yeah, and
one shots and practice games, but I can't even get people to sign up for classes, let alone one shots. So
Right.
even when we do that, they don't show up. So I
that
don't know
might
what
be
the
a good
answer is.
thing to put in your you know how like when they sign on they have to read a thing and agree to it.
Yeah.
You might really stress that this server is not for a game LFG, right? Like
Right, but even when we do have them, no one signs up.
yeah. And then
I
they
mean,
complain
it's
about it on the survey. I know that's
Right,
yeah,
but
it
it
doesn't
is
make
it
sense.
is a good server to meet other players and
Exactly.
DMs, though.
And it's also a good place to meet people who are running the games, because mostly game masters use this. But and when you are in with the people that are using the software, you're gonna find yourself a good campaign.
Well, that's what I gave up on a long time ago. I'm like, I'm never gonna look for another game. I'm gonna
Nope.
be the DM.
just
I'm
make
gonna
your
run
game.
my
Yeah.
own. Yep.
Yep. And I
Make the
remember
game and
you
they will
saying
come.
that to me too. Drake, I remember you telling, this is what I'm going to do, and you did it. I mean, that's straight up. So they want one shots. They don't like the fact that we're lacking events and classes, but yet a lot of the people who sign up don't go. So I don't know what else to do with that.
Well, there
Rule
needs
set,
to
By
be
the
a
way,
class.
there
There has to be a class when it's convenient for them.
There is
Correct.
a place in the Discord, on the FGA Discord, where you can request classes.
Yep.
So it's amazing that people are like, you don't have enough classes, and then they don't request them, and they don't come if they sign
And
up.
that's
anyways.
fairly new, so I
Shit
give them
for
that. But the problem with the request thing that we come across is the formatting, because we had a guy come in there and says, I want help with character creation. Okay,
Great, we
what
got a
rule
class for that.
set, or no, what rule set, what time, those sort of things, so that we get the guy that gives us like one little bit of information, and then the other guy gives us like I'm only available on Tuesday of the second month of the 5th day of it's it gets to the point where you have to go through all that, and it's like by that time you don't even want to do it, because it's just like it's a lot of work just to manage people's requests. So that's
Yeah.
why we were very on the class request form, we put a sample of what type of basic information that we need, but we also don't need more than that. So there's hard to say, okay, you're not giving us enough, and then in some cases you're giving us way too much, or too
Yeah.
many stipulations. You're asking for a volunteer class, but you have a specific day, a specific hour that we have to scheduled to, and that's a little much too. So
that sounds like $50 to me.
exactly.
$50 to me. Give me
So
$50
it's
and I'll do it to
yeah,
you
exactly.
specific.
But it just it's kind of hit and miss. But I don't know. I didn't really want the request thing, but I know it's a necessary thing. So we used to have a form on the internet on our website that had a class request, and it was limiting because there was a field limit. So we designed it so where you can only answer those questions, and you didn't have any choice to write a dissertation, but it wouldn't submit the form if you didn't have the basic information either. So it was kind of a cool way to balance that out, but that was part of the old website, so we don't have that form anymore, but it made it a lot easier for requests. Oh, so that's one of the bad things about losing the website. But generally speaking, lack of volunteers or engagement was one of the other things, and I think that's just a time thing, and then who we have around at the time. So I think that's just bad luck.
Those are all the Swedish guys that are complaining.
Yeah, maybe.
They're like,
There is
oh, you're not
something.
awake.
Yeah, there's some people that have said that. We'll get into that. Okay. this is funny. So,
It's a nice
which
pie.
which one of the titles best describes the Academy? And I put some humdingers in here. So we got a helpful community, got a bunch of elitist jerks, we got a large group of morons, and we got ridiculous and unnecessary, and then we have no comment.
So people only answered 3 of those.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you right now that the red category, a bunch of elitist jerks, that person or people who said that are the
1%.
you only do 5e, you don't care about Pathfinder.
It's one person.
That's the
Yeah.
It's that's that guy.
Or it's someone I'm arguing with at the moment.
Well, but that is a problem that I see persisting.
Or it was Bob. I think it was Bob. I just always.
But I do see that persisting where, I mean, part of Prizegate and why I had to leave for a while was this notion that everybody only cares about 5e. Nobody cares about any of the other rule sets. Well, except go look at the Fantasy Grounds stats and pull up, their quarterly report that shows how many games are being played, what the games are, and what the percentages are. And fucking D&D 5e is 90%.
Right.
So
And we're doing our best with that. We try to get volunteers to help us with other rule sets, and we're actually doing really well comparatively. And we do work really hard on trying to keep that, at bay. But, when we've run, just recently, we had a class scheduled for Starfinder, and not one person showed up.
Yeah, they bitch about it, and then they don't care.
Yeah, so I don't know what the answer is to it, but when we do offer Paizo events or anything like that, we don't get a whole lot of response. Now, Traveler, on the other hand, is a different story. Like Traveler, every time we've done a Traveler symposium or an event or a game or a one-shot, it's filled. I don't see anyone complaining, and those people are grateful to have the resource.
So Traveler
I don't know
players are like Mac users. They just forever. Huh?
This is good. I mean, we've had good success with that over the last couple of years, and I didn't think that would happen, but it did. So it just depends on the quality of the people that are using it, I guess. I don't know, but it's hard to get people to do the other rule sets because there's not enough people. And then you got the 5 people that are going to complain that we don't do enough of it when they themselves aren't doing anything either. So I don't
There's only 5 of you. How many people do you need
exactly
to take the class, right?
Yeah.
This is, how before the show we were talking about how people say that the internet is bad, but that's the wrong way to say it. It's not the internet that's bad, it's social media that's bad. But one of the worst things about like this survey and basically anything on social media or the internet is that you can remain anonymous, so you can say whatever fucking bullshit you want with no fear of reprisal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of what happens with some people that might come in, even to Fantasy Grounds Academy, and go, "Oh, you guys don't do," and then and their screen name is assfucker69, so you don't know who it is, you know. And you can't, because if it was somebody coming to your house and knocking on your door and complaining to you, that's a different story, right?
Oh yeah, you'd probably get punched in the face.
Well, let's not be Will Smith, but
get a shirt
on. Oh yes,
this
is the one I wanted to see.
69.
What VTTs are you? Okay.
Okay, so this is just kind of a a multiple thing, but it obviously it's biased to Fantasy Grounds, so just cut that out and take a look at all the rest of them. It looks like Roll20 is still fairly up there. Foundry is a close third, and then it just kind of goes down.
People playing Astral VTT, there are only 2 they're playing together, I guess.
What's interesting to me is that this is a survey done by Fantasy Grounds Academy, and Fantasy Grounds is not 100%.
Yeah, well, it's close, 93.
I know, but like 11 people that answered don't use Fantasy Grounds. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but there's 30 people that don't even use a virtual tabletop.
Yeah, that's interesting here.
That's
they just use Zoom or Skype or Discord.
Yeah, Zoom, Skype. Yep. Google Hangouts. Yeah.
Yep, that's that category.
I've never even heard of some of these Tailspire. What the fuck that is? Owlbear, Shard. Never heard of these.
Yeah.
Owlbear Rodeo is pretty good, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
You're a trader. Hang up.
This is I'll be. It's a rodeo.
It's a different kind of table, though. It's not. It
Mhm.
doesn't do everything Fantasy Grounds does. That's for sure.
It's Fantasy Grounds Classic. Look, you still
Bane
got.
has Tailspire.
There's
I've
your
never
other
even heard of it.
10%, Rob.
I know a couple of people still using Classic. They're just like, I know how to use it. I don't want to learn something new.
Oh, thank you, Leroy. I didn't see that Classic was in
Yeah.
there.
There's our other 10%.
Yeah, people that are living in the past. That thing's been a year and a half since that's been anything.
All right, so in the Fantasy Grounds virtual tabletop or RPG industry community, I am or identify as, and then you have, a GM or a player or just a visitor, an RPG industry professional or author, any of those things. So obviously DMs and players, but student could just be a player. So that I may have not formulated these questions very well in this case, but
Well, almost
Fantasy-
everybody. Well, 80% is a DM. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
That's usually who uses the resource.
There's only 7 streamers. Where
Yeah,
are
not a
these
whole
guys?
lot of streamers. Yeah. I know
didn't take the
Bell's
survey.
doing.
Did take the survey? See,
I didn't take
Yeah.
it.
bunch of lazy. Too
I know
busy to
Bell's
do
doing
this.
some research on there, and she's found quite a few people are using Fantasy Grounds, but they don't use the tag. They don't use the Fantasy Grounds tag, so it's kind of harder to find them. You have to dig into all the other categories.
And then if they just got just one little blurb of Fantasy Grounds, like chat showing, you don't know it's
Yeah.
them. You're like,
Exactly. So, as a GM or a player, are you aware that there's organized play communities for specific rule sets for certain publishers, like, D&D's Adventures Guild, or you could have, Starfinder, Pathfinder Society. But then there's other ones that are specific to a brand. Like I can't remember the name of it, but you basically use their products, even whether it's D&D or Pathfinder. But they give you an incentive, like if you run 10 games or something with their content, then you get some comps or kickdowns or something like that, and it's kind of like an organized play.
get a gold star.
Exactly. So if you've taken any classes or participated in any workshops, how would you rate your experience? 1 being the lowest, 5 the best, pick 0 if it's not applicable. So you look at this, there's a lot of people that haven't taken any classes.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And then if you go over here, the ones that have taken, it's been fairly positive. I mean, not bad. If you add these 2 up, that's probably about half of them.
Oh, it's a poor one guy there with 0% there.
There's nobody.
Nobody gave it the low score.
Oh,
of a
nobody
1.
gave it. No,
Yeah.
1. Nobody.
And some people, you're always going to have a couple people that might answer 2 or 3 because of any number of reasons. They didn't quite understand, or maybe they got disconnected during the class and that was unsatisfying to them, even though it's not anybody's fault. You never
Sometimes
know.
it's too long.
Yeah,
like
those
that.
9 people don't use VTTs. Those 9 people right there don't use
But but like Leron said, mostly positive, so that's good.
Yeah, it's been pretty happy with that number. I mean, other than the people that haven't taken any, because they don't necessarily need them either. So that doesn't mean they don't want to. They just probably don't need to. So here's the funnest part is the responses. So I wish I can organize these. I think I'm going to ask for some help on these, but these can kind of go into 4 or 5 different categories. But like you got one guy that says, okay, doing a good job. There's another person who's asking to see some workshops on how to hack current rule sets to use for other similar games. So basically, someone who wants to either write or create their own rule set. So I want to address that. Normally, we don't teach that in our community because it involves a lot of expertise, a lot of experience, and we don't have the people at all to do that.
Yeah.
So we don't offer classes for extensions and that sort of thing. And what we're finding is that that's part of the reason why people aren't participating, because they need more. They need more advanced stuff, and we don't have the capacity to do that. We did have a guy who was teaching basic XML and Lua, But the problem with it is that when he did offer the classes, only like 2 people signed up. So it was like too niche to offer the class. And then there are people who have progressed beyond what we can teach in the academy, and they just probably just need to be pushed in the right direction. So that's generally how we handle that when someone asks for that sort of content, is we'll try to get them with the right people that understand how that process works. We have content that kind of supports that sort of thing, but it doesn't really address, making extensions, because how do you teach making an extension? You have so many different rule sets and so many different wants and needs that there's no way to teach a basic extension class that's going to work for everybody. There's some people want
a lot of the extension makers, all the ones I know, Team Tui and everybody, they just dug in, figured it out, trial and error, and then adapted it to their needs.
Right. But how would I do that for everyone?
You
know
can't.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like Excel where you can just teach Excel. It's not a thing.
Right.
Right. It's all because there's just so much. There's so much possibility. Yeah, it's
And
kind
then
of crazy.
I spoke to Doug on this, and he's like, "Yeah, you'd have to actually have someone like that can teach Lua and stuff, and that's a whole separate thing. That's not
and it would be right. I mean, what that person needs is to go on the internet and find like a Lua class or an XML class.
Oh yeah, or exactly, get into a community
and
college.
then
or
you'll
something.
know the basics. Then you can go open an extension you like and that you
Right.
use, figure out how it works, and then adapt it to what you want it to do, and then change it and make it go from scratch, whatever. Yeah, something that I know the steps to and have never been willing to take myself.
Yeah. So this happens to be someone who's participated in it for a long time, but it used to be a teacher, but they just lurk around. But they're always surprised to find that Laren, or me, is the most person who greets people, and that he thinks that some of the other volunteers and community members should be helping out more. That's kind of hit and miss. I've seen where there are days where I get a lot of people helping, and there's days where they don't. So I'm kind of neutral on that. I take help where I can get it, but I can't force people to help. So that's kind of where that goes. Someone says, since it's all volunteers, we cannot devote a 40-hour work week to it. Would like to see more, but they know that time is limited. So that is kind of related to the last one. U.S. centricity. This is what we talked about earlier.
Is that a complaint or a positive?
Yeah. It's U.S. Yeah, that's a complaint.
Right.
Which I get, because it is. And we had a big solid group of European and Portuguese and people from Oceania. Problem is that
whoever, this is anonymous, of course, but whoever the person was that said U.S. centricity, I wonder if they're willing to be a person who does their area. Like, usually not. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's usually how it works. I said, okay, well, why don't you help us find some people to do it? And that when it comes down to it, there's a lot of people don't have time for it. The other thing is, we found that most people are going to different platforms. So from the other regions. So there's so there's a lot of the people that had traditionally used Fantasy Grounds have gone on to other platforms. So Fantasy Grounds is not as intuitive as its biggest competitors. It should be more popular, blah, blah, blah. So this isn't this is what I'm saying by category. Like, this is a Smiteworks thing. This isn't us. So I think someone's confusing us with Smiteworks, because this talks about licensing and, that it's not approachable and all this other stuff. So this is kind of out of our purview. This would be something more for Doug and them.
It's also not something I agree with. I don't find Foundry or Roll20 or any other VTT to be any more intuitive than what we hit. I don't think that's true.
Right. But even if that, opinion. whether it's true or not, that's not a thing for us. Yeah, it doesn't count. Not for me anyways. Personally, I don't have time to watch videos on how to use a product. So short, succinct, step-by-step instructions would be better. So I'm not sure if this person ever took classes or what, but yes, I agree. A lot of our video contents are very long.
Yeah.
We have brought them in to where they're not as long anymore. They seem to be doing better, but if you have the pause button, I mean, you can use that. You can always, skip around. The other thing is we put more indexes on some of the longer videos so that you can jump to a certain part. There's that. But I think if you don't have time to watch the videos, you probably don't have time to put into the platform either.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it really takes to get good at Fantasy Grounds, is to put some time in.
Oh my God, you know how many videos I watch when I was trying to learn Fantasy
yeah.
Grounds? I did fast forward, rewind, fast forward, rewind. Okay,
Yep.
pause. Okay, go do it. Go find
So
it.
here's
Okay,
another, not Fantasy Grounds Academy. So the UI is hampered by the back-end complexity. So that's not really a Fantasy Grounds Academy.
maybe they were
concern.
talking about your website. It could be.
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
Scheduling should stay within Discord. Going out to schedule games to a web page is discouraging to continue with Discord. One place to communicate. So
that
I'm
probably
sure...
was an answer given before you switched it.
No,
right?
No. This either someone who hasn't used our services in a long time is what I'm thinking.
Okay, because it is on Discord.
Yeah, I know, but I think this person may have used our content.
Oh, the thing from before, yeah, which wasn't great. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's none there. Okay.
Oh, get yourself clone. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
So there's a lot of these, like,
that's good.
Good stuff and blah, blah, blah. This one's good. I like these long ones because it gives me some food for thought. But he says, first of all, it seems to me that in the leadership, only a few people are actively attempting to better the FGA, and everyone else is just kind of there by obligation, and they don't really actively contribute. The community seems lively enough, and people will feed off each other's interactions. Yes, but how do I say this? I'm not very active in the server, actually. I'm basing this off a quick skim over the last few days in history of the survey. Most, if not all, the people in the leadership interact meaningfully with the community as members of the community in general, and in the general chat and the rules that help. But as for classes and the direction the leadership intends to move the FGC towards, it appears that only a few are actively contributing, which is true. There's only, maybe 4 or 5 of us are giving out events. Perhaps a bit of restructuring. So that's exactly why we do these surveys, because I might have to do some restructuring, but that doesn't mean anything negative. That just means more efficient, so some leaders may only want to help with Discord moderating. Some may only want to interact with the community. Some may just want to hold classes, that sort of thing. So this person, whoever said that, was basically just, someone who's casually using it or haven't used it very much lately.
Yeah.
And then they want perhaps a FAQ on what the roles mean and whatnot after this is done. So that might be a thing, but the problem is we have changing roles, and everyone has their main thing, and then everyone does everything. So there's really no way to define those roles. It's just kind of like student is kind of self-explanatory. A graduate is kind of self-explanatory. I'm not sure how that's going to help, to be honest. And thirdly, there should not be. Oh wait. Second of all, there should be a group of trusted vetters. Right now, even from the survey, several questions or answers give the impression that it's a roughshod job that people were forced into making, and that nobody particularly looked through the questions before putting up the survey. I put the survey up. I did think about the questions. I'm not sure what's driving, but it says if they did and they didn't question it, and if they did, they question wasn't backed up at all. So I don't know what they're getting at. But thirdly, should be a not applicable, because there's some of these questions they didn't like because you have to force to answer them. That was okay. See, do not be afraid to ask even basic questions. So that must be advice.
Yeah.
From someone, which is nice. No answer. Oh, here we go. Very North American centric. Some EU time zone stuff would be nice. So we do have EU time zone stuff. It just may not be your EU time zone stuff. So we have three or four people that volunteer that are actually in the EU that do things in the EU time zone. So no advice. You're doing great. It says that they may not feel what they do is appreciated. This person had lurked for a year, asked one question, and got excellent help within minutes. Your volunteers are awesome. So that's another thumbs up type thing. Thanks for the great work. I send a couple bucks a month. Hope it helps. Also, I've picked no changes needed on the what needs changing question if that had been an option. Keep up the good work. Life combined with an entire day of D&D burns me out from attending classes nowadays. However, I love learning more about FTU. Please disregard my answer to which items or content could be changed or addressed in our Fantasy Grounds community. More than one. Okay. As I have no concerns, but it is forcing me to choose at least one. So, again, keep up the good work. To attract new players, the answer cannot always be take this class. Well, you mean new users, because players sounds like a different way. But anyway, so the answer can't be always take this class or watch the videos. Whether it's step by step or something else, I don't know. But Fantasy Grounds needs a lower friction way for a newer player to give it a try.
Again,
I don't
that's
think
not
that's
us.
us.
Yeah.
That's not really us. That's up to the individuals, kind of, and Fantasy Grounds. My advice for the volunteers at FGA: keep doing more of what you love. If Unity and you want to, show it off people, then you're in the right place. Thank you guys for all your hard work. So there's a thumbs up. You're doing okay. Keep it up. Thumbs up. Somebody had put in, they learned the basics. They felt that all of FGA could offer, I may be wrong, was basic. That took about 3 months. It was great help when they started in 2019, but now they're looking for much more advanced and specialized help. So this is what I was telling you: community extensions, Lua, coding, that sort of thing. And I don't want to seem negative, but if Fantasy Grounds Academy teachers want to offer beyond vanilla classes or open Q&A or advanced questions that then get answered in a Q&A static response with how or why included, I know that these are the most robust community coders, the only ones they're familiar with. Setting up things with them could really be helpful in both directions. I don't feel like I can address that.
But that goes back to the same old thing we've said over and over. Like I taught a coding class. We promoted the shit out of it for a month, and 6 people showed up.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you can't win because everybody wants.
No.
I mean, 10,000 people all want 10,000 different things.
Yep. You're all my heroes. Thanks for what you're doing.
Fantasy Grounds Graduate School, McClancy says.
Yeah, we need a whole nother. That will be Fantasy Grounds University. Let's see. So you have great classes, good teachers, love the event so far. I feel like some are looking for one-shots to learn, but as classes for GMs, that doesn't seem helpful for that. I don't know if you want volunteers for odd systems like Call of Cthulhu or not. Yes, we absolutely do. Please don't give up. I found the community to be helpful. Time zones make it difficult to meet consistently. Yeah, that's been a problem since we started. I really appreciate what you do. I'm mostly worried that you'll get burnt out. I see it as a very useful service.
3 years ago, burnt out.
Yep. Keep up the good work. I'm happy. Need to get the word out if this happens. I'm not sure what this means, but
if what
we'll find out. Exactly. Send out a reminder to students the day before. That kind of burned me.
If you had the ability to.
I actually, if you sign up, well, you do. If you sign up on the calendar, like we had showed earlier, and you're on Discord at the time, it will send you a little message.
Oh, cool.
Now, the other thing is, if you use the calendar thing, export, you will get the reminder. And then generally, not always, but generally, we ping the students the day we do the event. So between those 3 ways of doing it, I don't know what else to do.
I think this person, I'm speculating, but it sounds like they want an email, right?
Can you text them just before the class to
We
make sure
do.
they're there. Yeah.
We ping them.
No, on their cell phone. On their cell
No.
phone.
Well, yeah, they don't have their number.
Exactly.
Can you text their mom and make sure they're up?
No, I know what you mean.
Tell
I
your
see what you're getting at.
son, please. Tell your daughter.
Yep. Keep up the good work. Don't let asshats ruin your day or mission. That's cool. Yep, that's a good.
That's a good one.
Not sure exactly who should contact for a specific rule set. It would be nice to see that. Okay, so they want to know who to go to if they want to.
Right. Like, who's the
Well-
Starfinder guy? Who do I talk to?
Well, that's why we have the rooms. We have specific rooms in the Discord
Yeah.
for specific rule sets because it isn't just one guy. There's like 6 different volunteers that rotate
Right.
at any given moment. And then there's some of us who might know something about a different rule set even though we don't play it. So that's what those rooms are for. I'm not sure if you're maybe that person's not aware of all the resources.
Well, you can
You
put,
mean
like, in my Discord, I
mean
have a
the-
thing that says, here's how to use the Discord. If you're here for a problem with a product, go to the author's rooms. The author's
Yeah.
rooms are on the left. I mean, I spell it out in so much detail, and I still get PMs.
Oh, I know.
And it's just because people don't know how to use Discord. That's it.
Or they don't read or whatever.
It's a rule set specific help. I mean, there's a whole thing. It's a whole
Yeah.
thing over there. You
Yeah.
just look. Just
And
scroll
you
down.
post your question there,
Yeah.
and then nobody wants to be directly pinged necessarily.
There's
but
even
if-
other rule sets just in case you
Yeah.
wasn't in the list. There's a whole
Exactly.
thing there. It's the other rule sets.
Yep. So not exactly okay. So I'm grateful that there's a community built around using Fantasy Grounds. The advice I found has been instrumental in me using the software to GM better games. I am certain several people are putting a great deal into holding the community together. I have considered taking a class, but never have. Now, after over 2 years of Fantasy Grounds, well, I have more specific needs than I think are covered. Yeah, that's just a eventuality of, when you evolve with the platform, you need the resource.
Yeah,
bounty
but
less and less.
every time I've taken any class at FGA, I don't care what, I always learn something. Always.
Yep.
Learn something.
Yeah, Robbie learned a couple things the other day.
Right?
did. I
Well,
was
that's
like,
not
what?
hard.
He knew
That's not hard.
most of it, but there's a couple things. As for FGU, I wish you guys were more rule sets for comic hero RPGs. There's nothing I can do about that. That's
Yeah,
Right,
I
I
almost
think.
built the Hero Games rule set, but I didn't know how to build a rule set. So I talked to, what's his name? Steve? I forget. This was like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Jingo the Fool's
Yeah.
friend. And then they fucked me. They just left me hanging. So then that never happened. And that still hasn't happened. So.
Right.
um,
Well, here's the thing. Because we don't offer the Lua and the rule set development, that's why you weren't able to do it.
Yeah. They told me
Yeah.
they could do it, and they just dropped
Yeah.
it.
It's our fault. We don't
But
have
I was. This was even before Fantasy Grounds Academy.
Right,
I was brand new. I was hungry, and I was doing everything.
Joking.
And then they
So a diversity of class time. So we don't have enough classes. That's basically why we don't have the diversity. The biggest issue is being able to find classes that work for their nutty lifestyle. So I can't really do much about that, but they hope to get to the point where they're comfortable, where they can volunteer and help and add to the available pool of helpers. So that's cool. And thus help other folks like themselves. So maybe they work graveyards or something like that.
Yeah, that's a great
That's
way
cool.
to actually learn is to teach somebody else how
Exactly.
to show
Yep.
somebody. Let's break this together. Come on. Yeah.
Exactly. When starting in FG in 2018, I was thankful for a chance to play and learn with a knowledgeable GM. So that's kind of a thumbs up. Consistency, patience, interaction, less redundancy, stay on topic. So that must be for us, for the teachers. So redundancy you have to do for consistency, right? Redundant, consistent. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, they're just an impatient person. That's fine.
Yep. Drop the virtual signaling and promote the hobby.
What?
Not sure what that means.
I mean, I know exactly what that means, but I haven't seen any of that.
What does that mean?
Virtue signaling is, I don't know. Explain it, Robin.
Virtual signaling?
Robin's not here. Her Comcast died.
Oh,
Okay.
explain it, Fury.
Sir.
Yeah, what do you think that means?
What? I don't know what the fuck that shit
Vir-
is.
Explain it, Drake.
Okay.
It means that I got the 2 little paddles and I'm not standing on the runway. I'm in a freaking green room going like this, and they're projecting me out on the runway. It's virtual signaling.
I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. But virtue
Yeah,
signaling is all that. It's wrapped up in. I wish I could get a dictionary definition of. I know what it means, but I can't articulate it. But it's all the. Give me your pronouns, and it's all the woke crap.
I don't think that we're doing that.
Here, let me look it up.
So, virtual signaling, not
Who?
virtual.
They, he, she, we, all of us.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Practice of
yeah.
publicly
Virtue
expressing
signaling.
opinions or sentiments intended to demonstrate one's good character or the moral correctness of one's position. Yeah, it's being high and mighty, and I don't think that happens.
Wait.
I
Well,
thought
how does that have
I thought
to
it
do with
said virtual signaling, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Virtual.
Oh, well, maybe the person
That's
either.
what I was trying to explain.
Oh, yeah. Well, virtual signaling isn't a thing. I think that's either a typo or he's trying to be clever.
Yeah, whatever it means, I don't know.
You can have a virtual guy out on the runway signaling. Okay, it's virtual signaling.
All right.
So anyway.
hoping to have more help in the middle of my sessions. So a search function somehow that goes through all the channels. So they need to use Discord more effectively. That's what that is.
Yeah, I just found out the other day that you can search in a you can actually
channel.
do that. There's like Boolean colon searches in Discord. I had no idea. They just need to go to Discord and read how to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just to knowing how to use.
I never knew that, and I saw an example of a search, and I was like, "What? You can fucking do that?"
Also, it'd be sweet to know when there's a class but being held before it's happened, so I can actually participate. I just think they don't know where we're posting our events.
They're not. Yeah.
Yep. Getting new players over the learning hurdle, if FGU. I think, I don't know what they're trying to say, but maybe that they're asking us to help new players
You should have
get
put
over
at the
hurdle.
top, not required anonymous answer. We can't address questions that are not in English or that are stated.
Well, I think they're saying they want us to help new players get over the hurdle.
Isn't that what we're doing? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We mostly focus on GMs, but it kind of comes with the territory. You use the program, you get used to it, or you start learning how it works, and it gets easier. Understand that there are people in many different time zones, so give your answers a while to get answered. So that must be favorable for us, so that if you're going to post a question, you're going to have to be patient if you're in a different time zone.
Oh yeah, they're saying, hey, don't crack down when they don't answer within 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'd like to amend that. I find the classes helpful in general, but I disagree in the style done. I think a workshop would be far better suited to teach skills.
Cheerbits
So
on the
what they
stream.
would
Thanks for the
prefer is
cheerbits.
that the teachers don't just sit there and explain and point things out.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
But the problem with that is everyone has to be logged into the table, and then on GM topics, you can't really do that anyways. And then not everyone in the class has an ultimate license where we can go through all that stuff. So there's no way to do it like that.
Cheerbits,
and
McClancy,
and it would
thank you
take
so much.
longer too. So in the classes I took, I often found myself thinking, "Oh, I know this part," or "When do we get to the part where I'm iffy?" Or, "Oh, okay, cool to know, but I don't know if I'll actually ever need this." So, and then they hope they might remember if they do need it. So it's a lot of information to take in. I get what they're saying.
Hydrate.
This type of teaching is harder to do, and I wish to emphasize, but I'm extremely thankful for the content that is available and free on top of that. But I really do believe that a lot of the repeat questions and the feelings I get from the teachers and volunteers, so sometimes I read in sometimes their Discord time, is because of bad retention. This could be improved by making the students do more of the work rather than having them watch it done.
Yeah,
Maybe.
But again, you have the problem of everybody's got to connect and all that.
And not only that, but no one shows up, so
right.
You can't connect if you're not there. I must profess I didn't have the time or will to participate in any workshops. I'm not in a good time zone for that. But I understand that asking for the same program around the clock is once again something that would be very demanding considering it's free volunteer service. I often just come by to ask for help with a specific problem, and then I'm having with their prep work. It's often much faster and gives me a much safer feeling rather than Googling something. So that's kind of a positive thing.
Yeah.
And they're saying, I think FGA's strongest point is that you have experts in the field that can and do help most of the time, and even speedy. EA or Blizzard ticket service has nothing on you guys. Hats off.
Hats off.
Love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Never would have figured out Fantasy Grounds without your classes. I think a periodic reminder that all your volunteers will be in order. It helps keep us demanding participants in check. Oh yeah, they're just trying to be nice, saying that, just remind that we're all volunteers. That might be in order. So yeah, I do say that occasionally. Not enough time or volunteers. Yep, we know that. Thank you. Please just be a good person and don't push woke nonsense. No one cares about your politics. That drives most good, decent people away. And then you are just left with an echo chamber of rubbish. I have no idea what that's for.
I want to say that's not directed at as a survey.
Maybe it's
answer.
the other way around.
I think they're saying that to other people who are in the chat. Yeah.
Right, that could be.
Like me. Thank you.
And they're British because they said rubbish.
Rubbish.
Could
no one
be.
wants to hear your rubbish.
It could very well be.
Yeah.
I don't have any concerns or advice as I am not on enough, but I am really trying to get into DM mode and get up to speed on Fantasy Grounds Unity. The combat and spells effects targets seem to be a heavy lift for me. Thanks. So I want to ask that person, if whoever they are, how long have they been using the platform? Because that goes away. That problem kind of smooths out. That was my problem too.
At what point? Just 4 years? No. The more you use it, the better you get.
Yep,
exactly. It's true.
Yeah.
Use it all the time.
If you use it at least once a week, those problems go away.
Yeah.
Or they get less, anyways. The Fantasy Grounds community, which I'm grouping Fantasy Grounds Academy into, seems to think that players always try to do the wrong thing and that the system needs to stop them. So let me stop there, that the system doesn't stop them. There's nothing built into the into the actual software that stops anybody from changing things on their character sheet. So I don't know exactly. Maybe they mean gameplay. I've never had players like this, and anyone unintentionally doing the wrong thing has stopped when asked. So that it sounds like whoever wrote this had a good experience with their players. Either I've been very lucky, or Fantasy Grounds does a little too much pandering to control freak GMs. I don't know what they mean by that. I feel the control freak DM standard comes through as the right way to use the system from the Fantasy Grounds Academy videos. I don't think that's what we're trying to do. I think it's just a way of teaching, and you took it as, whoever wrote this, you might have taken it as, you have to do this and you have to do that. That's not the true thing. The thing is that we're trying to direct you into best practices. And if you want to go off on a deep end and have all kinds of things blow up in your face, that's fine. That you don't have to watch the videos. So I'm not sure what they're getting out there, but be proud of yourselves. I've helped so many learn the game and get them in the hobby, including myself. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you. Need more volunteers to help out. Yep. Thank you. Best advice is to support for DMs. GMs is the most important because DMs are critical resources for play. There are far too few of them, and Wizards of the Coast does little to support and make DMing easier. Yeah, maybe. That's kind of a positive thing. Keep it up. Better communication of events or clinics, as I frequently find out after it's too late. So I think that's, again, someone who's not quite aware of our...
Yeah, they might only come into the server every 3 or 4 weeks, and they don't know.
Yep.
You didn't call them and let them know that there's a class.
You didn't call their mother?
Yeah, come on.
No, they just probably don't realize we have the scheduling thing, and
Mark Wahlberg, say hi to your mother for me.
Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing. It's very helpful. Your service is appreciated. I love what the community is doing. The survey is a good reminder that I need to get more involved. Please keep up the great work.
Nice.
I still don't really know what resources you are making available or how to navigate them.
Again, that in my opinion is that person just has struggles with Discord.
You could be
Discord. Talk about a learning curve. Discord is not super easy on day one.
Yeah, that's part of the
Discord is still clunky. I feel
it's
like
part
I'm
of
using
the.
It's amazing, but you do have to learn how to use it. Yeah.
I kind of feel like I'm trying to use my mouse with my elbow sometimes.
Yep. Ignore
I
haters.
have to try that now.
I think the lack of volunteers in different time zones really shows in the events list. I understand that some members are willing to do one-on-one lessons, but sometimes daunting for introverts like myself to just come out and ask. So that's time zone thing and that
yeah,
sort of
and
thing.
plus, if a person isn't willing to ask for help, there's not much you can do.
No. Finding out when a tutorial or class is being taught.
Well, this shows up a lot, huh?
Yeah, so to me, it just sounds like they don't know where the resources are, or, they're not used to Discord.
Yeah.
Have fun. Main goal: don't burn yourself out.
That's somebody who understands.
Yeah.
Was that? Did I post that? I don't know.
All right, so this is someone who's saying you guys are doing a good job. I feel like DMing people not wanting to take on that role. Everyone loves to play. But the ratio of DMs to players is low. Yes, we know that. And I can see that same problem with being as an instructor in Fantasy Grounds Academy. I would not mind teaching, but I find it difficult to locate time among my other responsibilities to afford it to the FGA community. As it is, I run one game session a month and might be lucky to play in once a month. Hopefully in a couple more years, my schedule will be a little less crammed. But folks, I do thank you. FGA helped me launch deeper into Fantasy Grounds Unity. Oh, side note, not sure if more Mac OS users have showed up, but nobody really seems to know how to troubleshoot them. And I agree with that. We used to have some Mac specialists, but they don't come around very often. It was a problem with a fellow student of mine, and she was not able to get it running for her Mac, and it was very limited on the ability to help her. So yeah, that's not a Academy thing. That's more of a Smiteworks thing.
Yeah.
To be honest.
And Mac users are 15% of the community, and whereas Windows is 75%, and then there's the other 10 is whatever.
My biggest concern is that they do not feel appreciated and quit doing what they do. They are a very valuable piece to the support and growth of the platform. So that's more or less addressing the fact that we have people that leave, that can't. They kind of just feel marginalized, or maybe they're quitting because they just don't get any love. So that's happened. We've had people that volunteer. They they're excited. They get all these classes going, and then when they schedule them, no one shows up. And,
yeah, that's sad.
That's usually what happens.
I'm here, and you're supposed to be here, but I'm the only one here.
That old lion in the Twitch chat has a legitimate gripe. He's telling me it doesn't help us to belittle the people that answered the survey, and I'm not trying to do that. If I came off as belittling, that wasn't my intent, and I apologize. I'm just saying that certain people don't know how to use Discord. Certain people have trouble with certain things, and that's understandable. And we all listen. I didn't know 2 + 2 was 4 till somebody told me. It's just that somebody might struggle with some things. So I'm not trying to slam people. I'm just trying to make known out loud that there are some people who struggle with some things, and that's fine. It's very understandable, and we want to help. But sometimes you take a survey and you make an answer, and then we don't, and it's anonymous on purpose, and so we don't know who you are, so we can't really reach out and help you. Hopefully, maybe some of these people are actually watching this show and might reach out again and say, hey, I really was interested in knowing about something or whatever, and we can help you. But yeah, like people who struggle with Discord, listen, I didn't know how to fucking use that thing for like 3 months when I first got it. And so
it took me a year.
Yeah,
to
it's
get
very
used
understandable. Fantasy Grounds has a learning curve. Discord has a learning curve. And so, yeah, not only Fat Old Lion himself, who just happened to be the person making the comment, but to anybody who thought that I was trying to like come down on people or whatever. No, that wasn't my intent. That's not my attitude. I'm just trying to say factually that people do struggle with things. And if they do, please ask for help. And, that's what we're here to do, is to help you. So.
Yeah, that's something that has come up in the years of volunteering is that we find that everyone has a different way to learn, and they have different capabilities, and they have also different ways of dealing with the stuff. So what we've done is I've made a couple videos to help with Discord because that seems to be the big disconnect between getting people together for classes and that sort of thing. And that's just simply not being used to the platform. So that is a thing where people just don't have they just don't have the time to learn Discord, and then they learn about the rule set, and then they're learning about Fantasy Grounds, and then some people are still learning about their own computers. Like there's people who have literally come in that don't really know how to use their computer either.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
it's a thing. There's a lot of computer illiteracy. There's a lot of people who aren't used to using Discord, and then you add in all those other things. That's like 4 different things you're fighting there.
Oh
So
my God, it's like you get Fantasy Grounds and you're like, yeah, I got Fantasy Grounds. Now I'm gonna learn it. And now I'm like, what's this Discord shit?
yeah,
But
exactly.
I
Yeah.
gotta. But
So it
Yeah.
is
oh,
not an
Discord,
easy.
and then
It's
It's
really not an easy thing.
people I think don't. Well, I mean, most probably do, but some people don't realize what the commitment is they're making to themselves when they, not just Fantasy Grounds, but when they dive into any new software application that they have no idea. They see the video or they see the demo and they're like, "That's fucking cool," or their friends shows it to them. That's amazing. I'm in, and then they go buy it and they're like, "Oh shit." And so that's
I
what
mean,
we're here
I
for.
didn't know.
That's why we exist is to
Right.
help along with that. Yeah.
The
Fantasy
thing
Grounds, I didn't know Twitch, I didn't know Discord.
exactly.
Oh,
I
I
didn't
still
even
don't
know
know
how
Twitch.
to.
I fucking hit record. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's all
Right.
I
It's all
didn't
just
even
a
know how
magic
to
trick.
copy paste shit.
But then
I
it
didn't know
gets
shit.
but then it gets out of hand too, where we offered character creation, and then we offered to help people with DMing, and mainly Fantasy Grounds. Then they want help with D&D, so we're not all D&D, and we don't normally teach those classes, but there are people who want just that part of it. And I honestly think there's enough resources out there and books and everything else that you can read before you even ask that question out of a virtual tabletop. It kind of comes with the territory when you are using Fantasy Grounds. You just kind of pick that up as you go. There's no way to teach that in one class.
Yeah.
And then you get someone who wants to learn how to use Discord on top of that. So I've taught them, try to teach them about Fantasy Grounds, try to teach them a little bit about the rules, show them the ropes in Discord, and then they say, "Well, my hard drive's failing, so now I need help with my computer. I need to go get it replaced." And so it gets to the point where you're not really teaching Fantasy Grounds anymore, or it kind of gets off track, and that's happened quite a bit. I don't mind helping people with other things because that's my nature. I like to help people, but it gets to the point where we can't offer that all the time. And if I
Yeah.
offer that to I tried a role-playing class that actually turned out pretty good. There was a lot of turnout, but it's not really Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah. For
It's
about a year, I think maybe you might have done this too, Lightroom, but for about a year, I had on my Patreon, people could do one-on-one with me. They could literally just get on the headset, log on Fantasy Grounds, and I would be like, okay, what do you want to know? I'll teach you anything. And not even one person ever took me up on it.
Yeah, I've done those. I do have people who've asked me that, and I do that occasionally, but it's like once a year or something. It's not very common. Maybe twice a year. We do have a patron level that's kind of like that, but generally that person gets the help they need before they need it. That sort of thing. And then, not to mention that not everyone has the same level of understanding of all the different intricacies that goes into picking up the hobby. It really comes down to putting time in. I think that's the biggest hurdle is time.
Right.
It's not any one person. It's not, it's not a woke agenda. It's nothing like that. It's
Yeah, and if you're new to Fantasy Grounds and you're just getting started and you found your way to this, you're doing great because Now you've got all kinds of resources at your hand. Fantasy Grounds Academy even has more. If you start poking around on their Discord, you're going to see all kinds of different people over there. People from Smitework, people from the streaming community, people from developing, people, even creators in there poking around. So it's a great place to meet, but you got to open up. You got to talk. And if you plan on playing D&D, then you got to talk. You got to start typing. You got to start yakking. You just get into it.
Yeah.
You'll start meeting people and picking up players and getting in games with DMs and all kinds of stuff.
I
You
don't
kind of
remember how
have
to-
like 3 or 4 different types of users. You have the casual user that just wants to play once in a while and doesn't have time. And then you have the guy that wants to run campaigns, when they can. Then you have the people that want to make stuff and spend a lot of time in it and develop, and then you have people that just hate it. So, there's different types of peoples that have different degrees of investment in the platform. And if you can't put time into it, I don't know how to help, to be honest. I mean, it's just people wanting an easy button, and there really isn't one.
Yeah, I mean, Fantasy Grounds isn't really. Oh, I think I want to play D&D today. I think it's time that I play D&D. Let me Fantasy Grounds, and boom, you're not going to be playing tomorrow D&D. I'm sorry. There's some learning you got to do, and there's some connections you got to make. You can't. There's not a group that you can just show up. I'm here with my new Fantasy Grounds. I want to play D&D right now. That's an impossible scenario. You
Oh,
got
Fantasy Grounds Academy. Thank you for the
people.
host. Yeah, Drake, that's a good
people
point.
got to get together.
When I got my dentures, because when I had liver transplant, my dental hygiene went and they had to pull all my teeth. When I got my dentures, they told me, "You're not going to be eating steak tomorrow." And I said, "Okay." So it's the same thing you're saying.
No steak tomorrow.
No, you can't just show up day one and dive in, which is exactly what I did. I totally tried to get in games and just figure it out, and it was a fucking struggle for quite some time. And
Well, that's because you didn't have somebody nice like Layroon who was like, "Okay, I'll tell you how to play your first day,"
no,
which is what happened to me.
Yeah, exactly. You got lucky. The very first few, maybe half dozen games I was in, I basically just went to. They used to have that game matcher on fantasygrounds.com. They might still have it actually, but you could go like try to get in. People say, "I'm looking for someone to play Saturday at 8." I'll be like, "I'm in," and so I just pounded my way into a few games: Star Trek, D&D. There was a couple other RPGs that I'm not remembering now because I basically now only play 5e. But my first experiences with logging on to the DM's table and joining a game and getting on, at that time, TeamSpeak, gross. They just said to me, "Don't worry about it. We'll tell you what to do." And so it would come to my turn and they'd be like, "Okay, Rob, what are you going to do?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to attack that guy." And they go, "Okay, do it." And I go, "How?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, go to your sheet and click on the attack and double click that." And I literally learned by just learning a turn at a time. And then I started watching videos, and then, now look at me. I mean, it took me a long time, but yeah. So when people
You're getting there, Rob.
I'm getting there. I'm learning. I'm about halfway.
Getting there.
But yeah, when people first buy Fantasy Grounds, it's not expected that you would know what to do. It's like, it's like being a 15-year-old and your rich parents buy you a car, but you've never driven it. You don't know what the fuck to do. You have to be taught. You have to.
No. You played enough. You played enough GTA that you know how to drive a car.
Wait, I forgot. We're living in the age of GTA. I forgot. When I was a kid, the fucking graphics were 8-bit. There was no fucking GTA. But yeah, kids know how to. Yeah, kids know how to. So does that mean if you play like what are those war games? I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but
Call of Duty,
yeah,
like the only one that anyone plays.
If you play
Jesus
Call
Christ,
of Duty
Robert.
5, does that mean you don't need to go to basic training? You can just join the army and go right to battle? Is that what you're saying?
What do you think that game is? It basically is basic training. It teaches you everything.
Oh, fuck. That's awesome. Well, let's give away a prize. Let's do that.
Yeah.
People love prizes.
Hey, we're also going to give away a free membership to Fantasy Grounds Academy. All you got to
Nice.
do is click on that
Thank you for that,
Discord link
Lebron.
right there.
That's awesome. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here to the giveaway thing, whatever it's called. Raffles. That's it. You're right.
Raffles.
Keyword raffle.
Waffle.
And I'm going to give away any, Leroon, did you privately ask if I could give away? You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, it depends on the person, I guess, but maybe a free item on the Forge.
Yeah.
Or
so here's what
that's
I'll
if
do.
you have an account, and that's, we need to make that clear.
I will do this. Leroon had asked me, could I give away, I think you asked me if I could give away the coding package. I usually don't give away coding packages, so here's what I'll do. I'll make it your choice. If I pull your name, you can get any item on the Forge, or any single item on the DM's Guild, or the coding package. I'll give you that if you want that. So you have basically a choice of all that stuff. So
Wow. Thanks.
So the prize is whatever I just said, and
So let's explain what that means.
I'll explain it again. The keyword is WIJS, which stands for whatever I just said, and you have to put the exclamation point, you guys. So exclamation point WIJS, and I'll explain it again. You can get any one item on the Forge, any one item on the DM's Guild, or if you want the coding package, most people have it already, but if you want that, I'll give that to you instead of just the one item. So it's up to you guys. And if the name I pull has trouble understanding the 85 parameters of the win, you just PM me and I'll tell you what's up.
What you do codes?
Are you a coder? I'm actually not a coder.
You used to be.
I don't code.
You used to be. Yeah, dude. Really?
What do you mean?
Really?
No, Rob. There's a difference between a coder and a copy paster.
No, he did all those coding effects for spells, for conditions.
Rhammer. Thank you for the resub. Even though those are codes, and I refer to them as codes, I don't consider myself a coder by any means, because all I did was learn the wiki and adapt. Bold Tar, is that? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Okay, let's see who wins. Here we go. The winner is Gorvidal. Okay, well, I know he has double coding. So Gorvidal, you know what to do. PM me in Discord. If you... I did make... No, Celestian helped me with that. And Diablo Bob. If you want to... Gorvidal, you know the deal. You've won enough. Fantasy Grounds forum name, if you want a Forge item or DM's Guild item, I need your email. So you tell me. So yeah, good. Congrats to Gorvidal. And thanks everybody for watching. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, Robin would tell you, hit that like button, subscribe. But
and the bell. Don't forget the bell.
And the notification. Thank you, Fury. The notification bell.
Actually, there's a bell here on Twitch. Everybody, make sure that your little bell is highlighted and you're getting your notifications when Rob goes
Don't
live.
just follow. Hit that bell. And but yeah, you got to watch us live though, because you can't win a prize on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? You got to be here.
Yep.
Except if your prize is knowledge, then you get some knowledge.
Wow, that's really good. That is good. I like that.
I'm so sorry.
That is good. I liked it. I really do. I'm not being sarcastic. I like that. Your prize is knowledge. Next week we'll do a showcase. Ooh, Spelljammer walkthrough and giveaway on August 21st. Then on September 4th is Trivia Night. Robin will have many trivias. Yes. I've got a question in my mind that I'm going to ask to see if anybody gets it. And then on September 11th, we're 14. I'm going to have to double check with Theodore because Fantasy Parser module update. He's supposed to come on the show, but they just added that functionality into Fantasy Grounds directly, so I don't even know if he's still going to continue that or what. I don't know.
Maybe he gets sucked into the Tron.
He's sucked into the vortex.
I'm still part of that project, kind of, and they put themselves on hold, so they haven't dropped it, but they're not doing anything right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to text him and ask him if he's really coming on September 11th, because he might say no at this point.
You scheduled that like last September 11th,
Right, but
Yeah,
he
that's
and
right.
I asked him. I think I asked him in May, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm still gonna come." But then since then, Fantasy Grounds let loose on what's going on. So yeah. So
Lots of loose going on.
before we go, does anyone in the chat have any questions for Leroon, or do you have any questions about Fantasy Grounds that we might be able to answer for you? We're
Or
coming up on.
or if you
Or
wanted to say one nice things that you've had experience with FG Academy,
yes,
if you
Dave
haven't
the
met Ray.
World thanks Leroon directly. Yeah, Bane. It's pretty big. And I think what I heard, Leroon, maybe you know a little bit more about this. They're gonna try to also have it be able to interpret alternate formats, like not just D&D Beyond, but maybe some different. I don't know about that. Leroon, do you know anything about that?
No, they only so far they have 2 formats, which is the standard format of the vertical, and then they have the horizontal one, which is basically the way the ability scores are arranged. But that was the
Okay.
only thing that was yeah, good fat old line cool. But yeah, the I think the last thing is that they might look into adding more formats, but right now they're using the Monsters of the Multiverse for
Yeah.
NPCs.
And if they tried to do that, it would. I mean, you'd have to. I mean, I remember when Mask did the first thing, he had like 4 or 5 different formats,
Yes.
and then people were complaining, well, what about this? Well, and he was like, well, if I go
Oh, he went nuts.
yeah, because you'd have to add like 70 different, just have to be.
He ended up with 3 or 4 filters that captured 90% of what was
Right,
out
it
there.
was about 90%. Yeah, so
The thing is like not the source is what really matters. Like it isn't so much Fantasy Grounds, it's what you're throwing at it. And
Right.
that's what people said, well, Fantasy Grounds sucks because it doesn't take this photograph that has absolutely no text on it at all. That sort of thing.
Right.
So
And by the way, everybody, I just
right
put
on.
the link in the chat. Don't forget about this contest if you haven't. I'm giving away $100 cash.
Free money, people.
Free
Free
money.
money.
And so how
Wait a minute. Where's that? Oh
It's
yeah.
in the chat. It's right in the chat.
To you in pennies.
And you can go to my Facebook page, go to my YouTube page, follow me on Twitch, subscribe on Twitch, visit me at DM's Guild, follow me on Twitter. And if you've already done these things, you can click on these things and it'll still give you the points. Sign up for the newsletter, and then most importantly, this is 20 points. These are covered because I clicked on them myself just to test them. Can I sign out? Oh yeah, log out. Let me see.
Yeah. So
but then it doesn't show you what the things are. Damn it.
You got to log in, yeah.
But then it covers up the ones I did because I was testing them. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, the biggest one is if you sign up to be a Fantasy Grounds affiliate. Oh, that's worth 20 points. But yeah, I'll pull a name on the 20th of August and PayPal somebody $100 cash. So what's it hurt? Take you a couple minutes to go through that. What else? You can play Board Game Arena right here. I'm gonna take a turn. Let's see. Go to my.
Oh man, now you know it's time to end the show. You're showing that stuff.
I'm trying to get Diablo Bob's phone number. I already have that, I think, don't I? Do I have that? Let me look at my phone here a second. I have Furies, I know that.
Hey now,
because
don't give out that number.
No, we exchanged numbers when we went to like Canada and stuff.
Yes, sir.
I had to give Rob mine because I had to pick him up at the airport.
I have Drake's phone number. I've got Robin's phone number. I have Leroon's phone number. What about Diablo Bob? Do I have Diablo Bob? Let me see.
Oh no, I guess you and Diablo Bob are friends.
Yeah,
he doesn't trust you with that information.
I don't. But
he's like, that guy's gonna fucking dox me.
I know that Diablo Bob is somebody I can get a hold of on Discord like anytime, and he's always on.
So if any of you guys missed the events over the weekend, they are recorded. They're on our YouTube channel for the Academy. So we had Friday did Fantasy Grounds Fridays with Smiteworks. That went pretty good. That's on their channel. Saturday, Doug stopped by. We did record that. We got a recording of the Token Makers Symposium. We had 3 of the more prolific ones. We had who was that? Devin Knight and Dark Wolf and Jan Luz, which are probably some of the most majority of the token makers. And then, of course, this weekend or this Sunday, we had the symposium with Ben Looms from Sirenscape. But we didn't just talk about Sirenscape. If you watch the beginning, we actually talked about Gwydion talked about alternatives. So if you don't like the subscription model and you want something different, he did mention those, and we published a spreadsheet with all the links for all that type of stuff. And also, Gwydion does videos for each one of those options. So we did provide a lot of resources, not just a commercial for Sirenscape. Although we did have a really cool announcement. I don't know if you guys saw, but you can use the new web browser now. You don't have to pipe it through all that other stuff
It's
anymore.
so sweet.
Yeah,
so
you
easy.
can
You just
add
Just click.
yeah, you can add you get a link, and then basically you give that link to your players, and when they open that link, it takes them to your campaign as far as sound goes, and it's just a web player. It is no software, there's nothing. And then if
Just
you
a
want to
tab.
add it to your stream, even if your DM is not streaming, you can add that link to as a source for your OBS or what's the other competitor to OBS? I can't think of the name of that.
XSplit
Yeah, XSplit. You can add those.
or
You can
Streamlabs.
add that as an audio source, and you don't have to route it through Discord and all that crap. So that's a big change, and that's
Add it as a browser source, actually.
yeah, it's a browser source. Yeah, so it's gonna be a really cool ride. We got some good stuff coming up, and hopefully you can hang out long enough to appreciate it. There's already people who left or abandoned the platform and went on to some other things because they couldn't wait. So we'll see how it goes.
So here's the thing that Drake sent me, because he obviously doesn't care about $100, so he didn't enter anything. But here's the points, everybody, of the contest thing, and I put the link again. So it goes till the 20th, so you can do it tonight or tomorrow, whatever. But yeah, the high value ones are signing up for the newsletter and signing up to be a Fantasy Grounds affiliate. These are entries. So going to my Facebook page is one entry, but if you sign up to be in the Fantasy Grounds affiliate, you get 20. So that's it, everybody. That's how you do it.
Cool. All right, thanks for all your support, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, and Leroon Bain said, I don't think we say it enough, but really do appreciate all the things both Team Tui and Fantasy Grounds Academy does for its users of Fantasy Grounds. You collectively make our lives much easier. So thanks for that acknowledgement.
Thank you, man.
Leroon, thank you for coming by. We always have you as a welcome guest. One of the OGs of this. People don't know. Well, this show was started by Leroon and I. He was a original.
We invited Fury because there's too much yang, not enough, or too much yin, not enough yang.
Right. The best shows are when I'm here and it's Robin and Fury, and then I leave, and then that's the best show.
And I got too busy, and I always, for some reason, it always comes on at dinner time. And speaking of which,
well, for the first 2 months, we did it Tuesdays and Sundays, and we were like, fuck this.
It was too much. Yeah.
Yeah. So up to 214 next time.
Fun fact, I don't know if this matters, but episode 212 was the episode that we're on now. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the Fantasy Grounds Friday show was 212.
Oh, snap!
By coinkydink. And I looked up that number, and that is an angelic number, and I can go into the religious aspects of it.
Oh my god!
Yep.
Show's
Cut.
Show's over.
Good gaming, everyone.
Good.